Jumbo fellow adventurers, time for a spiritual tune-up. This week's theme is writing. Writing for fun and profit. Today's question, it's time to monetize. Okay, you've been doing it for free for way too long, and now it's time to make a buck. You deserve it. There's nothing unspiritual about wealth and abundance. All right, I would first recommend that you not try too hard to make writing the vehicle for abundance. Dream of abundance, dream of writing, see yourself living in both worlds joyfully. Don't make one how the other happens. So you can write part-time, you can write full-time if you can afford it, and write because you love it. Write the book you want to write. Be authentic and true to yourself. Don't make it the beast of burden that has to make you wealthy, because then it becomes a cursed how. But that does not mean don't also aspire to wealth and abundance. Excuse me. And it does not mean that you can't also visualize that the world loves your work. Just don't make one how the other must happen, because then you're writing under duress. It's no fun, and it's not going to be very popular for other people to read. Nevertheless, let me tell you, I've made all these mistakes. You can still make mistakes and succeed and thrive and love your life. A little bit of my story in the self-publishing arena, where I left off on yesterday's talk. Nobody would publish my work. Nobody would publish my Notes from the Universe compilation. Nobody would publish the time-space continuum, the name of a manuscript I slaved on. Well, probably not a good word. For many, many, many years, decades even, a little here and a little there. And it just didn't come to pass. So then I got into sharing in more ways than just writing, as I suggested you do as well, by seeing yourself as more than a writer. And that meant creating a website for the nature of reality and its exploration, Tut's Adventurers Club, 20 years ago, still at tut.com today. And part of Tut's Adventurers Club were little pages of inspiration, e-cards that had metaphysical truths, this was my bliss, and a daily email from Mike. And those daily emails were never very popular. But they led to Notes from the Universe many, many, many months later. And while they were never very popular, I enjoyed writing them. Actually, I hated writing them. But once I wrote them, I felt good about it. Many authors, including my mother, would often say, I don't like writing, but I like having written. Lot of truth to that for me. The process can be hard. It's like getting water out of a rock. But when you succeed at the end of the day, whether it was a paragraph or a chapter that you wrote that you love, it's just like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. So I wrote these little emails, and there were enough people that were grateful for them right from the beginning, emails from Mike, that I stuck with it, even though some weeks I had more people unsubscribe than subscribe. All right. But because I did it, and taking action breeds clarity. You're a teacher, you're a storyteller. Act on that, not just the book. Okay, send the book out. We talked about that yesterday. But be fulfilling the role, fill the role of teacher, storyteller that embodies and includes you as a writer. And that meant this website and inspiration and daily emails. Taking action breeds clarity. I was then in a place to receive this idea of writing as the universe, and suddenly the same old wisdom that was not that crazy popular became crazy popular. And to this day, the upward spiral continues. We're approaching 1 million subscribers. There's about 3,000 notes from the universe written. I've written every one of them, and they've made possible all else that I do. They created a platform. And here is what I stumbled into. By offering a free daily email. You got to do that. It's so easy. You could do a free daily cooking tips. You could start out weekly. Make it short. Nobody wants to read a long easing. But this is called platform building and it's solid gold for a writer. Okay, this is about you writing and monetizing it, but there's more to it than write a book and send it in the mail to some giant publisher and they send you a check for $1 million, okay? We're talking about 2020, and we're talking about the modern world of writing, publishing, teaching, and storytelling. So I created a platform. How else do people create platforms? Because when you have a database of people who like your work, when you finally tell them, I've been writing a book all this time and I'm ready to start sharing it with you, they will line up for it. My first major book launch, Infinite Possibilities, The Art of Living Your Dreams, a major undertaking, self-published as an audio program, sold all over the world at $130, $160 at the time. Put me on the map, self-published audio program. When it came out as a book, because I had a large database at the time, I told everybody, and it debuted on the New York Times bestseller list simply because of the people who'd been following me for, by that time, about 9 years. Overnight success, baby. But there was a lot of other really exciting successes along the way. But this shows you what building a platform will do for you. So I want you to steer your ship now simultaneously to mailing off book proposals to the large publishing houses, following their book submission guidelines on manuscript submission guidelines on their webpage. I want you to start moving towards self-publishing, having a website, having other offerings, including little speeches that you do maybe for free, ultimately for a fee, at Unity churches or boardrooms or high schools or anywhere that they will have you. Living rooms of people who invite their friends over, like I shared yesterday. So my little story began with emails and a few manuscripts that were short and pretty unappealing that nobody would publish. And then one thing leads to another, and somebody says, hey, I like what you're doing. Hey, do you want to collaborate? That's how I did Infinite Possibilities, The Art of Living Your Dreams audio program. And the person who invited me to do it, as if by magic, backed out when it came time to create the work that I had already pre-sold to my platform. And so suddenly I've got my own project. Because of the magic of the universe, somebody got me over the hurdle of my denials and resistance. And once I was there and selling it, that person was extracted from the equation. So I self-published an audio program. Other things people do, I started to tell you, to create a platform. You can do what I'm doing right now. You can do live broadcasts once a week, once a month, once a day, twice a day on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You got to learn some of these modalities. You're already watching me. You're halfway there. It's not that hard. Just do some Googles and you'll find out where to buy a microphone and what kind of webcam to get. And they're all pretty cheap. You can do blogs. You can do video blogs, which is probably what this is. You can do, I've heard of people releasing one chapter of their book at a time over the internet until it was bound. You can take donations. You know, that's not fun to do, but I've accepted donations in the past. You could tell your people on Facebook or begin with your friends that you're going to be meeting once a week at a local Barnes & Noble with their permission, or a local library with their permission, or a local anywhere. I used to meet at bars. I would have people come and show up at bars and I would give a little talk. I don't think any more than 2 people ever showed up, plus my mom and my brother. So 4 people and me. But you know, I was experimenting. I was a teacher. I had something to say. I'll tell it to you face to face. I'll tell it to you over the internet. I'll tell it to you through the written word. Just start doing stuff and Google, how do I publicize? How do I do this? Then when it comes to publishing, because of your free offerings, you're compiling content that will later be used. You can then not only sell a self-published book, but you can do, as I just said, a self-published audio program, downloadable MP3. You can do online video courses. You can do webinars. There's so many ways that you can share what you're born to share what lights you up, or maybe tell a story, or bring in a tangent. I mean, you could be a budding writer and you want to get published, but you love cooking, so you could start writing a cookbook and you could start attracting people with your recipes. And by the way, I'm working on a book. I mean, get creative. It's so within you. You have this dream. You have it for a reason to make it happen. Do not wait for the yellow brick road. Do not wait for somebody to invite you. The invitation I had for the joint venture that led to Infinite Possibilities was a year into me writing free emails every day and creating e-cards and learning how to build out a website with simple software. There's so many ways to get a one-page website probably for free. WordPress, GoDaddy, just Google it. Just Google anything and everything and then get going and start offering stuff and ask yourself every day, how else can I turn a buck on this? Ain't no shame. What else can I offer? What are other people doing? How else can I package it? How can I bundle it? Get this and I'll give you that too. Just put it all out there. It really, really is easy. I kind of call it guerrilla marketing. Just blaze a trail. Right now, we're living in the wild, wild west of the internet. So marketing is being reinvented every day. Trailblazers are showing up and leading the way. You could be that. I did that actually without knowing it 20 years ago, having a free website, free email notes from the universe, and an optional purchase for more. And it's by showing up every day and asking new questions that you draw to yourself these ideas and this clarity, because you are more than your physical senses alone. You are wiser than just the human being you know yourself to be. You tap into the divine source, the energy, the angels that are all around you. You draw from your future self when you're in action. Ideas that they're trying to say, hey, do it this way. It's going to be a lot easier. Because you're in action and you're moving. So don't wait for the yellow brick road. Start doing it yourself. And to self-publish really quickly, like a book or an audio, I mean, they're all downloadable these days. You can do a Word document, save it as a PDF, and then that's an ebook. You can do audio recordings on your cell phone or direct into your computer. And then you have an MP3 that leads to an audio book or an audio program. You don't have to print 2,000 books like I did back in the day and hope that they sell. You do one at a time. They call it print on demand. And then when you found your niche and your groove and you find yourself every week ordering a couple of dozen to meet demand. If you're doing a book, print on demand at Amazon or Ingram or other places, then you Google printers in the US and or overseas, and you start asking them for price quotes. And you're like, look, I've got 45,000 word book. I want to do this kind of binding. I want it on this size paper. I'm going to lay it out on these dimensions, or tell me what dimensions would be the most economical to print a book. And then you can order a couple of thousand at a time and your costs just plummet to like $1, $2, or $3 per book that you're selling for $9 or $14 or $19. It's a fun and awesome trail filled with trepidation. You're going to be scared and it's going to call you higher. Thank you, everybody. See you tomorrow. Ask your questions below. I've got some writing technique insights I'm going to share later this week. I'm going to also share with you about 5 miscellaneous questions people have asked that don't fit into a category, but they're really, I think, great questions, and I can't wait to answer them. So more this week on the writer's journey, okay? Tally-ho, amigos, Gwen, Betsy, Marianne on Facebook, and Emmy, Bobby, Purification, Mary on Instagram. See ya mañana. Hasta la pronto.